produce, spiced and flavoured with elaborate care. Their like this one at Brighton's Royal Pavilion, look to modern eyes more like factories, bustling with throngs of cooks, scullions and turnspits. Today, the spits revolve only for display. Tastes are simple, staff smaller. Such an array of pots and pans would be more than enough for our largest hotel. The ingredients then used are many of them unknown today except to gourmets, and gone are the pastes and patties once pounded in giant mortars like this. In this modern factory at Chichester, all is quiet tonight, yet it's here that the tradition survives, handed down from father to son. Today, meat and fish pastes are made by the Shippam family, whose ancestors were selling fine produce 200 years ago. The factory is quiet now, but elsewhere others are at work, gathering the rich harvest from land and sea. Off Cornwall's rugged coast, for instance, where pilchards show. By dead of night, the Cornish fishermen gather their gleaming harvest, witnessed only by the predatory gulls. The nets are over 1.5 miles long, and 2 hours non-stop hauling to fetch them in. And then they may only yield a mere handful of fish. Or they may bring in 1,000 stone. That's the chance fishermen have to take. Often 2 casts are made, sometimes 3, in a cold, wet and windy night 5 miles up from shore. The job is done now, and they turn for home. They'll reach the port of Newlyn near Penzance while city workers are still asleep, long before the first cock crows. In Sussex, meanwhile, chicken farmers are about their job as soon as the sun is up. The prime poultry they're tending is being fattened for Shippams. While the chickens grow heavy and tender in the sunshine of the South Downs, North Sea fishermen are looking after a harvest that is outwardly far from tender, lobsters and crabs. At Burnham in Scotland, on the northeast coast, they are laboriously pulling up the creels to see what's in them today. The reward for their labour? Meaty lobsters and crabs that would lend exciting colour to any table. There may be as many as 150 creels on a line, and the task is made more difficult because in pulling them up, the men have to drag the whole weight of the boat along. One of the jobs that must be done before the boats reach shore is making the crabs and lobsters safe to handle. Nipping claws are well secured. Meanwhile, back in Cornwall, the pilchard boats are unloading their hauls. Luckily, it's a good catch. The Shippam's factory takes thousands of tons of fish every day, all the season. Up to a few years ago, these fish were counted out one by one. But modern transport and ways of keeping them fresh have widened the field and created so large a market that today such methods would be out of the question. The catch is now sold by weight. A lorry stands by on the quay to take the fish to the packing sheds without losing any time. After the fish have been cleaned, they are packed with ice ready for the journey to Chichester. The whole operation from the quayside to the moment of dispatch is soon over, and away they go. On the quayside at Burnham, this is the busiest hour of the day. The fishing fleet is back and the crabs and lobsters are being unloaded. They'll be cooked, shelled, frozen hard and on the road south in next to no time. And here's another secret of Shippam's manufacture. No, it isn't a refrigerator. On the contrary, it keeps young turkeys as warm as their mother could as they hatch from their eggs. On this farm at Chesham in Buckinghamshire, turkeys see through the whole life cycle, from their first glimpse of daylight to the day they're ready to go to Chichester. Moving on to roomier quarters as they grow bigger, the young birds are reared, fed on special foods, nurtured and cared for until they reach a healthy and plump maturity. Until they are 10 weeks old, they don't go outside. Here they are taking their first outing. At 16 weeks, they're fully developed. That's when they're ready for the factory. But that does not exhaust the regions where Shippams cast their nets. Over in Ireland, salmon fishermen stand by for a signal from the watcher down at the river's mouth. There he goes. That means salmon are on the move upstream. They cast off and row out, trailing behind them the net that they'll lay in a wide circle across the estuary. Once a year, salmon are drawn by some irresistible force to swim upstream to spawn. The same force may lure them into the fisherman's net. Many a time they will haul in their nets, only to find them as empty as when they started. But every now and then, patience is rewarded by a catch of prime salmon. The fish are packed in ice, in wooden cases as befits their importance. This van will rush them off, along the rough country roads, civilization. But surface transport isn't nearly fast enough, and they catch a plane bound for London. There, in turn, the priority freight will be met by a lorry ready to speed it to Chichester. And here we are, Chichester at last. The old market cross reminds us of the days when food selling was a purely local affair. Like the salmon, the pilchards have arrived, even before the ice has melted. And here is the destination of the consignments we have seen, and many more besides, as food of every kind pours in. This is today's supply of turkeys from Chesham. This load of glass jars will take about half the day's output of paste. Over 15 tons of glass go in and out of the factory daily. Mr. Bowles, astern here, has looked after this section for so long that his eagle eye will soon pick out the slightest defect. Here is Mr. Yarden, who has been with Shippams for 28 years. He's an expert on pilchards. Today's consignment is nearly unloaded. And in they go, fresh as a sea breeze. As soon as the chickens have been hung on the racks, they're wheeled straight into the cooking room. That lot's soon in and becomes part of the production line. In the cooking room, work has already begun. The chickens are going into the cookers, which are like giant porridge pans surrounded by a jacket of superheated steam. Each pan will hold 125 birds. Their only very practiced hands can get that number in by careful packing, using every available inch of space. As one crew packs the pans, another cleans and dresses the chickens coming in. The cooking will be superintended by Mr. Challen, and here that important ingredient, experience, comes in. Mr. Challen has devoted 35 years of his life to cooking chickens. That's why they'll come out just right. The manufacture of fish paste begins here. Different recipes are cooked in batches, each having its own identity. They are cooked in pans just like the ones used for chicken. And whatever the ingredients, the one that will count above all is again experience. This time embodied in Mr. Gardner, foreman of this department. Shrimps for shrimp paste and salmon and shrimp paste. Here's a batch ready for cooking. Mr. Gardner sees that the pan is correctly filled and starts off the cooking process.